Hey everybody, it's Dr. Nick Murray. I'm in the neuromechanics lab at the University of Nevada, Reno. I work with Dr. Peter Jones and Dr. Ryan Webbles on the gait assessment, or the walking assessment, that quite a few have participated in thus far. Our major goal is to analyze and see what happens over time in terms of muscular dystrophy, specifically FSH. We want to understand exactly the natural history of your walking patterns and how they may degrade over time. So some of our research thus far has kind of proven to be pretty interesting and very useful, I think, for our next stages. In general, when you're walking, there's a couple different metrics and outcomes that we use, and one of them are gait velocity, which is essentially how fast you're moving over time in a particular direction. We also use cadence, which is how many steps you take per minute. And both of those factors can give us a pretty decent idea of how well you're able to walk over a particular surface or for how long, and what that means about the specifics of your disease or disorder or outcome. So one of the major findings that we have thus far from our research is that FSH patients always walk slower and they take more steps. Now, that's not terribly surprising because of the muscular weakness, and specifically in paraspinals and all of the different areas of your body, because your entire body is involved in the walking progress because of your momentum. But one of the major factors that we're seeing is that more muscle degradation, the worse your gait is and the possibility of being impaired. Well, that kind of seems like a no-brainer, honestly. However, it's kind of some of the first research that's come out with that. We're using some of Dr. Satlin's original research, where he started to study this and saw some declines in the musculoskeletal system in FSH patients. And so we're kind of taking it to the next step. We've also found thus far that when you're walking, FSH patients are always doing more with less. What that means is, essentially, you're always aware of your environment, you're always aware of what's going on around you, but you're not totally ultimately aware of how your gait cycle or how your walking pattern is changing. And so that could lead to more trips, slips, and falls, because you're devoting your resources to your environment to find out, okay, is that a car? Is that a bus? Is that something I need to be aware of so I don't fall? And so your gait pattern becomes worse. However, you're always cognitively on, unlike everybody else who's walking who doesn't have FSH. They typically ambulate rather normally, and they don't have to spend a lot of cognitive reserves or thinking ability to go out and see what my environment is. So our next stage of this is we are actually trying to figure out the most usable way to study the progression of the disease while using our gait system. And so we are going to be shipping out phones that have a gait analyzer application on it that allows you to do a gait assessment in your home, because we found, as much as we want to have everybody here in our facility, it just doesn't make sense. We can't get people from New York and Utah and Southern California, everyone up here, to get multiple assessments in every single day. So we thought we'd bring the process to you. So we're going to be shipping out phones, and we're going to be giving them to people who are interested and willing to participate. And if you'd like to do that, please let us know. And our overall goal is, again, to study the longitudinal, or the natural history of the gait cycle and how it may be impacted with the particular disease. Preliminary research is indicating that about 18 months or so, every 18 months, your gait cycle begins to decline. And so we're hoping to study that longitudinally after we design the most appropriate assessment for you as the patient, to be able to comfortably do this assessment on your own, in your own home, or in your own personal setting. Anyways, if you want to get involved, please shoot us an email, nicholasmurray@unr.edu, and we appreciate all the help. And we look forward to seeing you all soon.